Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me, as always, is the outstanding outlaw herself,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Deadwood. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right, Deadwood is a worker placement game set in the Old West, where the players are gangs of outlaws vying for control over a boom town, and whoever makes the most money wins.
Sarah, why did we get this game?
Well, apparently Will tells me that it was on clearance at Target in 2013. I don't remember. In fact, I had to look up on the internet because I didn't believe him that it was on clearance at Target. But I found a post from somewhere, probably BGG, that as people were announcing, yes, several of these games are on sale, and it was from 2013, and one of them was Deadwood.
Yeah, it was like $8 too.
Yeah, so
it was crazy good price. So I figure, why not? It's a Western game.
And at that point, we'd only really been into the hobby one and a half, almost 2 years. I think.
We were still babies.
We were still very much babies in the hobby. So we saw it being cheap. We were like, okay, let's give it a try.
Yeah, we were like worker placement, city building, Western. Okay, let's try this.
So let's move on to what does Will like about this game.
Now notice that she emphasizes my name because yes, I do like this game. I like it for the theme, the Western. In fact, a lot of games we've tried, we've gotten rid of more Western games than we've kept.
That'd be my fault.
Yeah, Sarah just has it in for the little cowpokes.
I don't like shooting.
So I like the quick tactical play. In fact, I didn't appreciate that when we first played this game. So when we got a chance to play it again, I was like, whoa, this is rather cool because of how quickly you can hit the table and then get off. I also found that this was the first opportunity I got exposed to workers that had different powers, because you'll actually have the level 1 little greenhorn guys all the way up to the level 3 trail bosses. So the workers that you put out there will act differently. That was my first exposure to that. I found it very novel, very interesting. However, we move on to what does Sarah not like about this game?
I don't like the conflict. I'm just a huge Care Bear, and I think the real reason why I don't like most Old West games is most of them focus on shooting each other. And that involves direct conflict. And I don't like direct conflict. So you can see the circle here?
You don't like America's, which you don't like.
I don't know. America is a little different than the Old West shooting each other up. And so that is it. It's kind of not every time. The few Western games we still own are because they're city or town builders set in the Old West. But they don't usually rely or have much focus on the shooting part. So, but it still comes down to, I just don't have as much positive feelings around the Western setting. The other thing that really gets me is the poor graphic design. I mean, it is just really dated. Everything's really hard to see. And then that's an issue because I'm the one translating all this to Will, because he's literally not looking at it. I'm the one who's like, okay, this is this is that. And if I'm having trouble because I can't tell an icon from another icon, or I don't remember what a building does. Although remembering what the buildings do and don't was more of my issue. Will could remember them real easily.
Yeah, I had to interrupt her because she was spending a lot of time picking up the rulebook. I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes, I don't remember what this building does. What is the building? And she would name it, and I was like, this is what it does.
Yeah, and the problem...
And then she would still look it up because she wouldn't believe me.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't believe him. It's that I'm a very visual learner, and so it's hard for me to absorb new information by hearing it. So maybe that's really it. So
I am an outlaw after all.
Yes, yes, you are. I feel like there was something else I was going to say, but yeah, I mean this.
Don't yuck my yum.
Don't yum my yuck. Let's move on to ratings.
All right, when it comes to ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Deadwood roll for you?
I gave it a 2, and that's being generous. Here's the thing. I don't hate this game. When we first got it back in 2013, I did hate the game. I was not developed enough as a gamer, and there were certain things that I didn't like the conflict. I still don't really like the game, but I feel a bit more ambivalent. Like I don't really hate it, I don't love it. I feel very neutral. So the problem is, and I don't have a lot of motivation to want to do anything. Obviously, I can do well because I won, but there was a reason why this was on the potential to get rid of stack, because I remember not really liking it, and we hadn't played it since 2013. So that's why we replayed it a few weeks before filming this. But because I don't hate it and I am willing to play it, we are keeping it. But honestly, unless Will asks to play it, I will only play it if Will asks to play it.
For me, it rolled a 4. This is a fantastic tactical game that does involve shooting, and I really like that. This is probably going to be the only game that I can convince Sarah to actually play that does have shooting in it. Everything else, I'm going to be building a city in the West. And that's fine. I like those games too, but sometimes I want a little rough and tumble, let's get this done. And this game gets on and off the table really quick, respects my time, and gives me a good time to play with it. Now, it's not a higher rating because, as Sarah points out, it does have a lot of datedness to its graphic layout and its design, so that does create a little bit of a challenge in there. Plus, Sarah's going to be the one that I play with the most, so if she's not having the greatest time, that's also going to knock my score down.
Right.
Because I would rather have her have a great time while playing a board game. But I know I want to keep it because it's going to be the one Western game that I can actually convince her to play if I beg hard enough, and have the Western experience that does involve the shooting that I want to see.
I will say I do appreciate that it's short.
Yes.
Which is also why I'd be willing to play it.
The funny thing is she has all the tools in front of her to make it even shorter, because like one of the things is put out more town tiles and put out train tracks. And you only really need to do that like 5 times and the game's over.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing about the game is it is very player driven in that if you really push, which I was actually in the game recently we played, if you really push to build the railroad, you only have to go 4 or 5 times. It's 4 tracks,
yeah, 4 tracks and then the
trains.
station.
So 5 times to a certain location that is there from the beginning of the game, and the game's over. So you can have a really short game. But if everyone is just having fun shooting at each other or taking ownership over different buildings, you could have the game last longer.
Yeah, you play as long as you feel you want to spend time in Deadwood.
Yep.
I think that's great.
Yep.
So, 6 out of 12. Not the greatest score, but it obviously is divisive when it comes to opinions.
Yep.
So, whether this is for you or not for you, hopefully this will help you decide.
Yep.
And that will do it for us here at Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And you know what? This town is big enough for the 2 of us because we are Rolling with Reviews.